Hey citizens, editing execute here. We've got an RSI Meteor to give away as well, thanks to CIG. So if you want to be in the running to win that, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And on stream next week, we'll draw that out to give away. You've got to make sure you're publicly viewable as a subscriber so I can see who you are. If I can't tell you subscribed, I can't give it to you. It's that simple. All right. See you guys. G'day, with Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Jon Citizen. How you doing, John?
I'm not doing too bad. I hope I'm not robotic now, though.
No, you're good. We got that sorted. All right, so you're filling in for Algrid again because his state's voice, and he sounds like he swallowed a cane toad. He's doing
What?
sounds like one of his students went to Hogwarts and learned how to turn him into a toad type of thing or something like that. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, he's quite raspy and sounds he's becoming very much old man Hurston. He's done too much role play, I think, or something like that. But we did want to get these the Meteor done and out, so I thought I'd get you in for a second one. And this, surprisingly, when you guys are watching this, we'll probably put this one out first. So you'll just have to wait to see the second one me and John did a little later. We might release that as a supplemental this week or hold on to it for next week. Right, the Meteor. So John, you've had a chance to get into it in game with me. What we're going to do is we'll just jump straight over to game. And me and John thought we'd put both of them side by side because this is a part of why the Meteor is good or bad, because we do have to look at its younger, cheaper sibling. And I'll probably cut straight to the punch. Both these ships are too expensive for what they do. And I think because of the price of this one, it's made this one even worse. Long story short, John, I think you'd agree $90 price difference, and I still don't think it makes it any better. It's too much of a glass cannon for me personally. What about you, John?
Well, if they were the same price, because the Mantis has got that drop shade of quantum.
Yeah.
The Meteor has got two bigger guns, a couple of fins, and is it a bomb rack or missile rack?
Yeah, it's like a missile rack on the belly. We'll take it out for flying a mini, and I'll show you that. But if I turn my torch on real briefly, yeah, that is one of the things that you can essentially walk straight under the Mantis here. Like it's totally clear. So yeah, as John's saying, is you can kind of see it fills in this concave area. They've essentially taken this one off and put it on a bigger, fatter one with a couple of more fins on it. Almost like a little manta ray stuck to the bottom. Yeah.
I honestly can't see why it costs more, because it doesn't really do much more except blow things up where that can pull them out of quantum.
Well, essentially, this is defensive. This is offensive. This one's faster because it's obviously a little lighter. But there's just some really weird quirks about this as a fighter too, because it's listed as a medium fighter, but it's got traits of both light and heavy fighters. Like it's got essentially heavy guns, but then it's only got light shields. So it's almost like it's a real. The person I think this is made for is someone that's really good for PvP and wants to show off, because you can hit people really, really hard. So it's kind of like the best of everything if you're really good at not getting hit, right? So I think it's for that really top end of town. Those top type of fighter peoples are absolutely going to love this, because if you can move faster because it kind of flies a bit like a medium or a light, but then it hits like a heavy fighter. So it's got the best of everything they want, but you just give up all the defenses and go full aggression. So it is going to appeal. I can see who it appeals to, but the regular person's going to want more defense, and I think that's where it falls apart. So it drags it into, like, combat's obviously a niche or an area unto its own, and then it falls into a niche of combat. I think that's how I'd try to explain it.
Would you say it's a competitor to the Buccaneer, which is a glass cannon?
Oh, I'd have to think about that one. It is in the vein of the Buccaneer a little bit. It's trying to do a little bit of a similar thing, but I think it just hits a hell of a lot harder than the Buccaneer. Essentially, the two size 5s really, they're bespoke. Obviously, they've weighted them fairly heavily, so there's some downsides to it. It's got 240 shots, but it fires 2 shots every time it fires, so you've only got 120, and they are ballistic. So you're not going to be doing a lot of fighting before you've got to go back. You know, having the internals, they've kind of set this up like it's a long-range fighter, but then the main guns are ballistics. They're completely opposed to what it does, because ballistics make you more short range straight away because you're just not going to have as many shots. That said, for example, if I took this ship, the Meteor, and fired it at the Mantis, 6 salvos out of those size 5 guns will completely destroy this ship. And I don't mean just soft death it will literally explode. And that was with the shields off, though. I will point that out. That was with the shields off. But still, that's pretty impressive. You know, you were doing some flying in it earlier, John, and yeah, you're only going up against starter ships because you hadn't done the missions, but you get my point, right? It's still fairly deadly. Yes. You don't have to hit them very much compared to other ships in because of the size 5 guns. You know, it felt to me a lot like flying the Guardian, and what I mean by that is like with the 2 size 5s on the Guardian, but also you've also got 3 size 4s. I would really further like to do some testing, and I'm not a P versus P player, I do want to point that out, but I'd love to hear from some of the people if you swapped out those size 4 guns, because it's obviously the Mantis only has 2 of them. This actually has the 4 size 3s. What it would be like if you change them all to distortions, because again, you could then slow the ship down to such a point that the size 5s can really be utilized and do their job. Yeah, I think this is a ship for PvP players. I think it is really tailored at them, and they are the people that I think I'd be encouraging to take a look at this ship. But again, that is not everyone. You know, generally someone wants a general all-rounder combat ship. This is not that. But if you want to take the time to learn and become that top end, yeah. But again, what happens when you get a top end of town versus a top end of town? Is that going to balance out, or is, like, again, if you can get a hit on this, it's going to start to weaken it fairly quickly. It doesn't have the shields to back itself up, so you just can't afford to make mistakes. But again, it flies pretty fast, it moves pretty fast. It just doesn't have the defense, so it is a glass cannon. But yeah,
what I noticed, what was that ship I was up against?
You're up against it was a cutter that you're up against.
A cutter, yeah. Well, that I'm not a combat pilot by any means. I'm in industry myself, and I found it quite easy to hit one side, because it was the first time I flew it. I'd less than 5 minutes, went down, hit the cutter a couple of times, and it crashed into the ground and blew up. So anybody with a modicum of talent could actually do starter and maybe a little bit higher with it, but I wouldn't say you would do the top end of the bounties with this unless you were very, very good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like it'll be okay at the beginning, and then as you go into the medium, it's going to start to struggle because you'll be up against things that are more your peer. It really is going to be, it's a skill-based ship, and that's where, like you said, if you're someone like yourself, John, that's more industry focused, it's not going to essentially appeal to those people because it's a different. It's just not as well rounded. It's just not as well rounded. It's clearly skewed towards the offense, where the Mantis is clearly skewed a lot more to defense. Now the Mantis is faster, but it needs to be because it just doesn't have the weapons to compare. So yeah, all right, I'll take this out for a bit of a fly now, while we're talking. I do have some negatives to talk about both of these, though. Actually, I think CIG have really made the Mantis try to look as bad as they can to sell more Meteors. It's the first ship in my recollection where you can't take the skins from one and apply it to the other, much like what happened with the Prowler and the Prowler utility. You could use the skins on both, and a lot of the other ships that they've done this year as the variants, or whatever you want to call them, you've been able to do that. But this is the first one I've run into where none of the Meteor skins currently work. Now, I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of months if they mysteriously just start working, but right now they don't. One perk of the Meteor, though, is they have taken this. I'll show it really quickly just for proof, I guess. Excuse the rain because it's obviously raining here in Hurst at the moment. is the interior has been copied back over, and it is exactly the same. I'll just literally pop up the elevator and the lighting effects as well. So everything that they've been able to do, they've done so. You can see, look, exactly the same. It's even got the little hidden
Pop-up storage.
Yeah, pop-up storage from the Meteor. So it is literally exactly the same in every single way.
That's what I wanted to ask you. You know, when that pops up and it says, yeah, you've got the storage there. Do you reckon those other things inside would be for blades or something?
There is an avionics compartment which would be for blades. I think this one is really just for weapon storage. It does feel like the ship's a little pointed at bounty hunting, believe it or not, but yeah, it's more for, you know, so there's your internal storage. And you've got your different size weapons there as well. Not obviously a heavy weapon, but just, you know, basically a med tool, a pistol, and, you know, a rifle of some description is really what that's for.
Oh, that's what that's for.
Yeah, and then your internal storage. But there's also an internal storage here. Oh shit, I got in the bed. Under the bed as well. Like, that's a storage as well. See, so it's got multiple storages in it. They've redone a lot of the areas and just tidied them up. I do really like this lighting effect. And obviously they gave it a new chair, as in they probably the Zeus chair, and put it in. As me and John were looking at as well, they also externally the cockpit's a little different. So this one's almost like a prism or a diamond, and that one's a little bit more box-like. It's really hard to show on camera. I wonder if I can hang on. There we go. Probably the best I'm going to get being that I'm physically in the other ship. They are somewhat similar, just some very, very slight differences. But if you sit here and look, there is some differences. Placement, the little thing on top of the cab, and stuff like that. So they've just changed textures and stuff. Mainly
fins.
Yeah, mainly it's fins and this bottom bay. If I take off really quick.
Have you called out?
No, not yet, but I'll do that now. Yeah, so you can start to see there's the bomb bay. It also is at an angle a little bit like the Firebird, so it will kind of make it maybe better in the future at firing down towards things on the planet or surface. But yeah, it's incredibly sexy looking ship, especially if you're into, like, I cannot fault the way it looks at all. I think you'd agree with me on that, John. It's not a looks problem.
Well, I did it. I saw it when we pulled them out earlier, and especially with this colour scheme you got on there, it really does look impressive.
Yep.
It looks like it could take some damage, but as people say, looks are deceiving.
It's very much in the theme of Star Trek, like with the little nacelles and that they're clearly going for that market of people. And as you can see, it's quite zippy. I've got to atmosphere very, very quickly. Reclaimer, good luck. I'll see you in a couple of weeks when you get to ammo. But yeah. But yeah, it's a great, like, it flies right, but it's just the gameplay of it is it's who it's going to appeal to, right? And if it appeals to you, it's a fantastic ship if it appeals to you. But if it doesn't appeal to you, which is going to be the vast majority of us, it is sadly just another fighter. But I actually think for the P versus P people, it's probably one of the more interesting ships that have come along in a really long time, because if you have that skill level, you can now use that skill level over the other person. You know, I'm thinking of times where I've watched many other streamers, like I'm thinking of like Avenger One and Burks and stuff like that, where they have that skill where they're flying around and they just can't get hit. Like there's a really cool video. I remember when the Fury came out, and Avenger One did a video on the Fury, and his mate, I think, was in the F8, and the guy in the F8 couldn't even, and his mate in the F8 was really good, almost as good as Avenger One, maybe better, I don't know, but you know, they're on par. And the guy in the F8 just couldn't even hit the Fury, right? So that's what it's probably going to be like between someone in this and a normal ship, because this will just move like a medium, and that if they're in an F8 or whatever, if you can just keep repetitively get those shots on them and can dodge them for long enough, this will outdo them, because it hits like a truck, but it can't take a hit itself. So it's a maneuverability thing, and I can't actively test that the way they can, because they are the, you know, the top end of town as such. But
They are combat pilots, and we're not.
no, but again, this is one of those ships that if I was to do my due diligence, I would say go, if you are a PvSPer and watching this video, go watch your favorite PvP content creator and get their 2 cents on it before purchasing. That would be my thing. Also, I wasn't even in SCM then when I boosted, so this thing, it gets up to, I think it's about 1500. What was it? Yeah, I'll show you.
1404.
Yeah, 1404, and it's about, what was it, 540 in SCM. So it really can, yeah, it hoons.
Basically, in a straight line, when I boosted in nav mode, I started blacking out in a straight line.
Yeah, that's scary. So yeah, I think we can kind of start to wrap it up here. It's the usual affair for me, John. I can't recommend it based on it being a fighter. It's definitely much an earning game. You look at the price at $240. You're in the ballpark of Corsairs, MSRs, and Connies, and we all know that you can take a larger ship and earn down. So again, that's what I'd be recommending. If this ship speaks to you, you are a PvP person, yeah, then I can 100% get behind that. If you're a combat person, I can 100% get behind that. It's just, for me, like most fighters, it's going to be an earning game for most people. I'll stress that, right? We're never telling you what to do. This is just our kind of recommendation. Would you say the same thing, John, or have you got something different?
Well, yes. I would say if you had 2 equal pilots, one in this and one in any of the Connies, I think this one would take out the Connie.
Yeah, especially if it was 1-on-1. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you were equal pilots, yeah, with skill levels, I think this one would take out.
Yeah.
And I like the Connies, especially if you've got both. Yeah, if you've got both turrets manned.
Yep.
But even so, if you've got equal pilots in them, even if the Connie was fully manned, I think this one would win.
I don't think if it was fully manned. I think if it was fully manned, you've also got to remember you got a Merlin to contend with in a fully manned one. And again, the turrets as well.
That.
Yeah.
If the turrets were fully manned, forget the Merlin.
That'd be an interesting test. I would say if you've got the maneuverability down, it would be very interesting. It'd just be 10 how many hits that thing takes. Because it'd be like like as soon as the fight starts, you're on a fuse with this thing. You've got to kill them before they kill you, and you got to remember, a Connie's quite tanky. You know,
yeah, but you've got some good guns there.
Yeah, you have to get on a blind spot. You'd have to avoid the turrets. I can see it happening in the right hands. I really can. But again, I can't judge that because there's a lot of moving parts there. Like, how good are the turret gunners? How good is sure, there's a few things there. So it'd be really interesting to test. And you couldn't just do it once and go, well, that's it, it's done. It's the type of thing where you'd have to run it.
It'd be the best of 3 or best of 5 type thing.
You'd have to run it like 5 to 10 times to even start to get a ballpark of which one's the better one. And again, I would relay all that type of testing to someone like Avenger One or Burks or anyone that does the PvP a lot, and I would refer to them in that regard. But again, when I look at it, a value proposition, and that tends to be how I do a lot of these, because I can't, I'm a generalist. I'm not into every area of the game.
You bang for the buck.
Yeah, the bang for the buck. It just doesn't pan out.
Yes. But neither one of us are really combat pilots or combat orientated in that respect.
As I said,
I like sitting. I'm pretty good in the turret. If I've got a halfway decent pilot who knows where my shooting ranges are.
Yeah, look, I'm not terrible at combat, but it's not my one profession. I am a generalist. I do everything. So like I'm probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10 in everything. But you want to get someone that's a 10 out of 10 in this to tell you exactly what it is, because I can tell what it is, but again, it's just not for me because it's so. Look, to put it in a way that would make sense to people that already have one, it's like an Eclipse. Eclipse is a very niche corner of combat that is purely tailored at torpedoes, but you pay a 300 dice price point for that niche. Exactly the same thing here again. You're paying for a medium fighter that acts like a heavy fighter, but because it acts like a heavy fighter, it has to lose something, so it loses pretty much all its defenses and becomes the traits of a defense fighter. So it's balanced. You're losing defense to gain offense. Essentially, every Drake ship in the game, they have better guns, worse armor. Exactly the same concept. Yeah. All right, I think we can kind of wrap that one up here, John. Unless you've, what would you like to hear from people in the comments below about the Meteor?
Well, what I would like to hear is if somebody's got one, halfway decent pilot, they got a friend with something like a Connie, and if they do the test, I'd like them to put the answers in for me, because I would be interested to see how that turned out.
So we want to reach out to Avenger One and Burks and anyone that can do this, and John will offer to be your turret gunner, because I think he should go down in a world of flames. I think that'd be quite funny. John just there firing, I can't kill it. But yeah, for me, I just, let us know for we've hit the nail on the head on this one.
A turret gunner is only as good as the pilot.
Yeah, that again, that's a really good point you bring up there. Actually, I was saying to John, this is essentially the glass cannon of medium fighters, right? Or an extreme glass cannon. The Hurricane is the glass cannon of the heavy fighters at the moment, and it's cheaper. It's literally $45 cheaper, and I think it's a much better buy. But then the detriment becomes to that is that you need two people. But for me, I think that's like if you were going into fighters, that's where I'd go. But me and Algod really enjoy going out in that Hurricane. It's I can fly. He's not the fastest flyer, but he can definitely shoot. So I just take him out and we play to our strengths, so to speak. But and we enjoy those missions because we get a bit of teamwork going together. But again, if they made something like the Hurricane but solo, like this ship would be in trouble. Because that's probably what, again, price has to be a factor in these things. It just has to be. They've literally said this is what it's worth. Well, that's their score for it. So their score does actually matter. Yeah.
Yes. Price is a factor, yes, but it's also if you see something and you like it.
Yeah, exactly.
By all means, go. If you can afford it, it's not going to do you any damage. Go and buy it. If you like that sort of thing.
And also, I'd add to that, even if you like it temporarily, you could pick it up and turn to something else down the road. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As for me in the comments, as I said, I just want to kind of hear, are we on the mark on this one or we completely off? I probably agree with John. Did you pick one up? I saw a lot of people that brought it and got rid of it. Like a lot. Like in global chat, there was a lot of people talking about, I'm melting my Meteor. It just in the first week. So yeah, I'd like to know, but what your people thought, and share your thoughts with us. Other than that, then don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you everyone that went the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. All right, thank you again for joining me, John, and filling in for Algrid. We wish him well, and I did have a talk to him today. He's still, he swallowed something, or he got a Hogwarts spell cast on him.
We won't go there with what he's been swallowing.
Oh. John, you're dirtier than I am. Right, anyway. All right, then. Say goodbye, John. See you, citizens.
Goodbye, John.